guys, how's it going? I hope you are doing fine, especially today as we have a new full flight video on the channel, and this time we are in the Dreamliner-10, which, if I remember correctly, is the first time we are having the Dash 10 on the channel. And yeah, QualityWings has just a couple of days ago released their version of the Dreamliner for Prepare version 5, and I got it rather fast. And here we are. Now I'm very excited to see how this plane works and how it looks in the new sim. And also in the meantime, Aerosoft has released the A330. However, I decided to go for Dreamliner flight first, and then later on we can see the A330 in the new sim. And also we are back with a special flight operations, at least sort of. United now uses passenger planes, especially the Dash 10, to carry goods across the Atlantic to various destinations. And I think they have picked up this flight mid-April somewhere, and now has been operating for over a month on this route. So I believe there would in reality barely be any passengers on there, but mostly cargo. So yeah, it's sort of, well, it is a Corona-related scheduled flight, but we still can declare it as a special operations, since it certainly won't be there once Corona is over. Yes, so that's the setup for today, and also we have quite beautiful airports. This one is the Washington, well, the Flightbeam Washington Dulles scenery. Very nice scenery, and then over in Dublin we will have the MKStudios Dublin scenery. So two very nice sceneries. And regarding the flight times, so here it is early evening, and then we will get to Dublin very early morning, and then we will hopefully have a nice sunrise when we get there. Alright, that being said, we can start on the flight plan as always. So today we are operating United Airlines 2816, and also at this flight number you can see that it is not a regular scheduled flight. On the 19th of May, going from Washington to Dublin in the 787-10. Registry today is November 12003. Cost index 53. I might dial that down just a touch in the FMC later on. Average winds, not too much, just 43 knots, tailwind mostly. We are flying a bit north of the jet stream, which is rather far to the south these days. Yeah, in terms of timing, departure is scheduled for 6 p.m. local time, and then arrival is well, it is scheduled for 6 a.m. local time. This flight plan gives us 4:15 Zulu, which would translate into 5:15 local time, so that's why I also want to dial down the cost index a little bit to not get there too early, since we kind of want to catch the sunrise. Trip time today of 6 hours and 5 minutes, alternate will be Manchester with 45 minutes of reserves, giving us a block fuel of 83,000 pounds, zero fuel weight of 353.9 thousand pounds. I will get back to this point when we look at the dispatch system in the QualityWings. And thus a takeoff weight of 436.7 thousand pounds. Flight level will be 390, and then we will see if we need a step climb or not. Yeah, we will handle this during the cruise. And then a very quick look at the weather, since it's a bit interesting today here for departure. So you can see we have winds from 090 at 70 knots, gusting to 31. So if we catch one of these gusts during takeoff, we will definitely feel that. Visibility is good. We have clouds broken at flight level 100, and then overcast 160. 17 degrees, so quite warm. Altimeters of 3019. And yeah, so that's pretty much the weather here at Dublin, and then we will get an updated weather when we get, the weather here at Washington, and then we will get an updated weather once we get closer to Dublin. Alright, so GSX is going on with the boarding, and we will jump into the flight deck. So here we are in the flight deck, and there's one thing I want to mention. I kind of struggled to get the FMC look very crisp. You can see that it's not looking perfectly. Displays are, however, looking quite nice, and also the electronic flight back. You can see that this is a bit blurry over here. Maybe I have to tweak the settings a little further to make it look nicer. And also I have recently switched my recording software. I was kind of unhappy with the Shadow Play, how it worked, so I switched over to OBS. I hope I got all the settings right from the beginning. If not, then please excuse that. I will, yeah, this is the first flight I will record with OBS, and if it's not working perfectly, then I need to go back to these settings once again. Anyhow, so here we are in the flight deck, boarding is still going on. Regarding the dispatch function, maybe we should start over here. So one of the reasons why I wanted to do a Dreamliner flight so badly is, you guys probably know the load agent, which takes real-world data from flights to and from the US to get the payload right. I've tried this yesterday for this flight, and somehow it gave a really weird assumption. It almost put me to full payload, which is highly unrealistic in these times, and also we can tell that it's highly unrealistic based on the real-world flight climbing straight up to cruise level 410, and that would definitely not be possible with a full payload. So this is what I've set manually, and it's the same as we have in the flight plan, so all the weights and fuel are loaded in. Okay, and with that we can head over to the FMC and start setting up for our flight. So we are on ARAC 2005, which is correct. Position is set already. Route, we are going from Washington to Dublin. And now let's see if this route request works.
Checklist.
It looks good. Now the checklists are running in the background. Okay. Departure runway will be 19er center. And flight number, we should enter that one as well. United Airlines 2816. Activate. Perfect. Okay, so we got all the waypoints loaded in. Let's start with the departure. And today we are on the Jacobi 3 RNAV departure, which is right there with the swarm transition, if I'm not mistaken. Execute that, and we can see on the charts, quite interesting. So we have a very short initial climb on heading 191 until we get to 820 feet, and then we turn right heading 320, and then we get vectored to the first waypoint, which is Riggins. Top altitude would be 3,000 feet, however, since that is super low and there is no traffic today, I will kindly disregard that. So what I will set up here is the vector heading that's given to us, which is 320. There it is, and then the flight level I will put straight to cruise level 390. Alright. So the zero fuel weight of 353.9. That's correct, and reserves today we got 13,000 pounds. That goes in there. Step size, I will put this down to 2,000, since if there's any step climb, we want to go to flight level 410. Fuel reserves, alright, that might be related to the winds. Cruise altitude, 390, and then cost index, I will put this down, so initially we had 53, let me put 25, that should be well enough. Execute. Okay, now let's try the winds again. Okay, now we got the waypoints in, so that's looking better now. Okay, so now the winds are loaded in. Fuel on arrival 17.9, which also sounds realistic to me. And current wind is 090 at 17, which is pretty close to what we had on the flight plan as well. Checking the VNAV page, but everything is fine here. 250 below 10,000 and then 18,000 for transition, of course. Looking good, and thus we can head over to the EFB. And yeah, maybe if we just double check, yeah, there you can see it. Load level would be 91.6, and I'm definitely not going to load this in. That's by far too high. Anyhow, we can initialize the flight and do some performance calculations. Now I hope you can see that. I know it's very blurry, but I hope it works fine. Runway 190, that's correct. Conditions are dry. Wind, now it's 105 at 19, I believe. If that's the current wind, that's fine for me. Optimum, flap 5. Let's see what we got. Okay, so we have a takeoff thrust with no selected temperature. That's quite interesting. I would expect to get kind of a derate here. Yeah, so somehow this is what it gives to us, so I will go with that. Send output, send to FFC. And there's, it is, flap 5. No assumed temperature, 145, 148, 156. But I think as the 787 has so much power, I think I really need to dial it down a little bit. Let me put this to 40. And somehow it went even up. Okay, let's go with this 155. That's fine. Okay, and now we got the FMC setup completed, and we can continue with the pre-flight setup. Oxygen tested 100%. Flight instruments 173. I haven't been flying the Dreamliner in a while. So 173, and altimeters of 3017 and 3017. That's checked. Parking brake is set and fuel control is cut off.
We'd like to add our
Pre-flight checklist is completed.
Finishing up our last minute paperwork, and once we've done that,
and now I'm quickly going to wait for the GSX to finish, and then we can start on the before start checklist.
We're there for your comfort, but most of all for your safety, so we ask that you give them undivided attention.
Or rather, I'm just remembering I forgot to set the 2 over here,
Sit back and relax, and I'll
which is
on our progress
156.
once we're
Okay, there we go. The flight directives, LNAV, VNAV. Alright, and now I will quickly wait for GSX. Alright, so now boarding is finally completed. I will go ahead and close some doors here. In the meantime, I have already fired up the APU so that we don't have to wait on that one as well. I will now disconnect the external power, and then we can also get rid of this one. Okay, other than that, on the overhead panel, electricals are looking good, door power is going on, hydraulics can stay off, seat belts are going on. Yeah, fuel pumps as well. I believe we have a tiny bit in the center tank as well. Nav lights are on. Beacons, I will do them in a second. And other than that, we are looking good. So I will go ahead and ask for a pushback. Alright, and the before start checklist. Flight deck door is closed and locked. Passenger signs are on. MCP is set at V2 156, heading of 320, which is not our initial heading, but soon after departure. And then altitude of 390, let's check. Takeoff speeds, V1 of 145, VR 148, and V2 of 156. CDU pre-flight is completed. We can see the green message down there, trim is 0 units. Taxi and takeoff briefing. We have talked about the takeoff. In terms of taxi, it will be also quite straightforward. We get a pushback the tail to the left, and then taxi down on taxiway Delta, and then down on Juliet, and then we have runway 19 center, pretty straightforward. And beacons go on now, and the before start checklist is completed.
This is a non-smoking flight. Smoking is not allowed in the cabin.
Alright, so tail goes to the left today.
Departure check completed. Bypass pin inserted. Release parking brakes.
As we get ready for takeoff,
Parking brake release.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
all seat backs and tray tables are upright, headrests are lowered, and footrests
Alright, and off we go. We can see that the APU flap is still open. We should make sure that's closed before takeoff. But other than that, the Dreamliner is looking stunning as always, especially in the Dash 10 version. And as I've mentioned, it's the first time for me flying the Dash 10, and I'm quite excited if it behaves any differently compared to the Dash 8 or Dash 9. I mean, ideally it shouldn't, but who knows. Alright, and let's get these engines fired up.
Okay,
so
starting engine.
Starting 1 and 2.
Set parking brakes.
Waiting your confirmation for good engine start.
Taxi checklist.
Okay, engines are still firing up. We need to wait another second. I want to start them up, but then I forgot the fuel control switches. My bad. Okay, now they are running, so I can confirm a good engine start. And then we can put the hydraulics on, first the right one, then the left one, and then the center ones. And then we can disconnect the APU and turn it off.
Unlocking gear.
Okay, and the before taxi checklist, anti-ice, don't need that, recall
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed.
is checked, our brakes, RTO, flight controls. That should do. Full left, full right, neutral, full up, full down, neutral, and the rudder, full left, full right, neutral. Flight controls are checked, and then
Left is clear. Right is clear.
the marshal should wave goodbye. There it is just now, and ground equipment is clear as well. That's done. Alright, flaps, I will put them to 5. And there we can see the sleds come out. And over here taxi lights, and I think in the Dreamliner we can leave those 2 on, that's fine. Alright, and we are looking good, releasing the parking brake. And off we go without applying any thrust. That's fine. Okay, in the meantime, I will set the weather over here, VORs, traffic, we don't need that, as there's still no traffic add-on installed, and over here, the terrain and the VORs. And takeoff trim should be 4.5, so I will trim up a bit. There we are, 4.5. And now it's 22:18, so we are quite late. That's because I've started the boarding too late. We will see what our estimated arrival time is once we are up in the air, and maybe I will dial up the cost index just a little bit. Fuel low center tank. Yes, that's probably correct. But 6.3, there's a bit in there, so I believe the fuel pump's on. And we're getting quite fast. Okay, now it will be a bit of a taxi. I will quickly do fast forward and you can enjoy a bit of the scenery. Alright, so now we are almost at runway 19 center, and we can complete the checklist before takeoff checklist. Flaps are set.
Before
That's
takeoff
done.
checklist.
Now I want to get the displays right, and then probably the checklists down there. That looks good. And this aircraft gets really fast. The transponder we can put to TARA and tilt above. We will take the last entry on the runway. And then other than that, just the lights. Turn off lights as well as tropes. And there we are, runway 19 center, straight ahead. And I hope I have set the weather correctly. Maybe now it's set correctly, since there might be a little bit of weather around. And I will zoom out here a little bit. Okay, so once again regarding the departure, so after altitude 820, we will turn right on heading 320, and 320 is already dialed in. So we should be all good for the departure, and we can do a rolling start. Alright, advancing the thrust levers. And it's very silent, I can barely hear them. And then toga.
Check thrust.
And there we go.
Thrust set.
Yes, I can definitely feel the wind coming from the left-hand side. And it looks like we have plenty of power available.
B1. Rotate. B2.
Short takeoff roll. It's a long aircraft, but we are already airborne.
Positive rate.
Gear up.
Gears coming up. Sorry, I'm not giving you an outside view just now, but the right-hand turn is coming up any second. That's already is. Maybe
Flaps 1.
we have a bit too much power available for this takeoff, but somehow the derate function didn't properly work, in case you didn't see the pre-flight setup. And now that's already 3,000 feet, which would be our initial climb clearance, but definitely going higher than this. And then once we have completed the turn, I hope I can still give you guys some nice outside views.
With our flight underway, I'd like to once again welcome you aboard. I'd also like to offer a special welcome to our quality flight flyers. You will be earning valuable miles on your flight today.
All right, so we are heading 320.
In just a few minutes,
now I'll get the aircraft a chance to speed up. Yeah, that view is not too bad. Perfect. Flaps 1.
All included free of charge. The flight attendant
After takeoff checklist.
complimentary visit.
I will do that in just a second.
Now we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
And flaps up. Right, let me pop this autopilot in.
Autopilot in command.
And the after takeoff checklist, landing gear is up and flaps are up. After takeoff checklist is completed. And yeah, we still got the fuel message, but there's still 3.6 in there, so I will still leave it on for a bit. Alright, that wasn't too bad for our first departure in the 787 in the new sim. Turn-offs can come off. Taxi nose. Sweet, and now I believe we need to turn to the first waypoint. I will quickly do this with heading select. Beautiful view as we are banking away from Washington. The 787 is handling just as nice as it did in the old sim. I'm really happy with the way it flies. Oh, we are already past 10,000. It's just getting a little bit bumpy, but not too bad. And then I believe we can go direct. Oops, if I can dial that in. Execute, yeah, there we are. Back to LNAV. Oh, here we go. All right. Okay, so this takeoff wasn't too bad, and now I believe we have 1 or 2 hours until we hit the sunset, and then it will be a very short night before we hit the sunrise again, close to Dublin. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this departure, and I hope you will enjoy the cruise as well, and then I will get back to you in a couple of minutes. Captains, welcome back to the flight deck and welcome to this very early morning arrival into Dublin. We are just seeing beautiful sunrise here over Ireland and the sun is peeking through. Now this is something we get quite often in the new sim, that the reflections are not aligned with the actual position of the sun. But never mind, the enhanced atmosphere is still looking rather nice in my opinion. And now we should also be rather close to the airport. And yes, we can already see it over there. It is already loaded in. So it's not too far to go now. We are today landing on runway ILS 28. And the arrival we are doing is the Aleppo 1 X-ray arrival, which we entered at Aleppo and now are close to Orvin. First constraint is Karaf, where we want to be at flight level 80, and then over to Kogax, Narmu, and Lepmo. And there are a couple of restrictions in there. All is properly dialed into the legs page, so we should be fine in terms of all the restrictions. And then talking about the ILS, so landing runway 28, final approach course of 279er. And yes, pretty straightforward. In terms of missed approach, we would climb ahead to Gannet, where we want to be at max 3,000 feet. Then a right-hand turn at max 220 knots. And then we are inbound course 098 for the Dublin VOR, where we would hold at 5,000 feet. So initial go-around altitude would be 3,000. And then there are a couple of restrictions as well. One of them are the speed restrictions, which are listed here on this chart, and those are also probably dialed in the FMC. We just have to make sure to go to speed 160 after waypoint. Now I need to double check. After waypoint Maxef. Oh, I'm getting some weird flickerings here. I'm not sure if you're seeing this as well, but never mind. So after waypoint Maxep, we would need to go to speed 160. We kind of have to remember this. And then also noise abatement procedures regarding reverse thrust between 23:0 and 06:00 local time. No reverse should be applied, and we are now 4:26 Zulu, which translates into 5:26 local, so we will land ahead of 6 o'clock in the morning, which means no reverse for us today. That's why I've dialed the auto brake to level 3. I've done some calculations over here. 1 and 2 would not be enough. 3 is apparently enough. I hope this works out fine. If not, I will switch over to manual braking. Yeah, so that's a little bit special about this approach. And other than that, we are just passing 10,000, so let me put the landing lights on. And now we can enjoy a quick outside view. Yeah, here we are, beautiful sunrise, and now we also get some reflections on the fuselage. There we go. Sun is peeking through back there, and now airport is already behind us. Down there it is. So very nice approach so far. And I hope we will be in for a good landing. First landing in the 787 in the new sim. Now we need to monitor the speed, and we are actually too fast. We need to slow down. So the aircraft did not exactly do a tremendous job in slowing down. And then next altitude constraint now, as we're approaching 8,000, will be, well, still 8,000 for the next waypoint, and after this 3,000. And then we will intercept the glides of 2,500, and since it's all dialed in properly, I think I will go down to 2,500. There we go. Yeah, you can see the aircraft wants to slow down to speed 210, and that's also according to the charts, or it's not according to the charts. We would have to be max 230, but according to the other speed restrictions, we need to get down to 210 knots. And then we need to keep the flaps coming in order to slow down the aircraft properly. Yeah, so other than that, it was a rather quick flight, 6 hours and 3 minutes of flight time right now. As expected, a very short night only, as it's summertime. And yeah, then we got into this beautiful sunrise. For some reason, I feel like the enhanced atmospherics and active sky are not working perfectly yet, and sometimes it's necessary to sort of reload the sim to make it work properly. Now I will set flaps 1. And then I think we can get rid of the speed brakes. Okay, I believe next constraint would be 180 at LabMo. So I think we can stay at flap 1 until we get there. And now the heading, I should dial this to the go around 1, which is 279. Yep. All right, and the descent checklist, I've completed this earlier. Approach checklist, just altimeters local 1020. I've dialed in there. Transition is 5,000, but I will set it now. Not like this. 1020. Let's check the approach checklist is completed, and we should also double check the weather and see what it's like. But when I checked earlier, it looked quite well. Oops. So variable winds at 1 knot only. Good visibility, few clouds, 2,600, temperature of 7 degrees. It's dry, so other than that, very good weather out there. Okay, now the aircraft is speeding up once again. That's why we got the FMC message as well. Regarding the cockpit lighting, I think I will leave it as it is for now. Should work fine. Just those flickerings are a bit annoying here. Maybe they disappear when I get rid of the floodlights. Okay, once again I will put a little bit of speed brakes out, since I really don't want to be over speeding on this approach. Now it's not far to go actually, 18 miles to the runway, not too far. And luckily we don't have to worry about traffic today. Yet I also have to say I kind of miss the AI traffic, and I really hope Ultimate Traffic Live version 2 is coming out soon, but they haven't announced any release date yet, so I have no idea how long it will take. Okay, I think I will go down flap 5 to have a bit more drag.
Ladies and gentlemen, in preparation for landing, please return all seat backs and tray cables to their upright and stowed position. Ensure all portable electronic devices are turned off, and stow.
And now we are back at our desired speed of 210 knots, and now we should drop further to 180 any second now.
Thank you.
And yeah, the hut. We should use the hut today. And I think I will set up GSX once we are on the ground. We anyway have to do a bit of taxiing. so we have time once we are on the ground. You can already see the lights of the runway, which is a good sign. Alright, so speed's dropping back to 160. We should level out at 2500, so we have some time to slow down. And then 160 we will keep until 4 nautical miles of the runway threshold, and then final approach speed will be 143 plus 5 makes 148. Okay, now we're 10 miles out, reaching the flap 5 bug, so I will go flap 10. And also we are aligned, so I will the localizer, which is captured right away, and also the approach mode. And also the nose lights, turn off lights, taxi lights. And this HUD is actually not too effective with this very bright background. It works okay. Okay, that's the glide slope, so I will set this to 3000 go around altitude. Also, I will arm the speed brakes. And now we will stick to 116 knots for another 3 nautical miles. And I think we can drop the gear. Alright, looking good. And I will set flaps 15.
Flight attendants, please be seated for arrival.
And then I think I will be a bit early on the setup, so I will go down to 148 knots now. And set flaps
Landing
all the way down.
Land 3.
Landing checklist, speed brakes are armed, landing gear is down, and flaps are currently coming down. There we are, landing checklist completed, so I will take the aircraft now. There we go. Alright, first landing in the Dreamliner in the new sim. Looking very good so far. I love how the airport looks in this very early morning lighting. And the air seems to be very calm. There's no winds at all right now. Oh yeah, minimums I forgot to mention earlier, but we are 400 barrel.
400. 300.
Very stable approach so far.
200. Approaching minimums. Minimums.
Continue.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Ooh. That was a rather harsh landing, but never mind, we made it down. So let's see how the auto brake performs, but that's looking good. That's looking very good. Manual braking. Easy, so we have made it down without using any reverse thrust. Now let's get rid of this.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be taxiing for the next few minutes, so please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captain turns off the fasten seatbelt sign. At that time,
Sweet.
please remember
Sierra
to check the
5
weapons
is the
seat
exit.
area, in the seat pockets, and
Quickly
overhead
checking the
bins
airport
for all
charts.
personal belongings that you brought on board. Please take care when opening the overhead
airport's
bins,
once again speeding
as the
up.
contents may have shifted during flight.
Ooh, now we got the beautiful light in the cockpit. This is looking rather cool. Alright, the cleanup. Flaps up. Speed brakes. And I think I will complete the turn first and then I will get back to the cleanup. Yeah, that was a beautiful final approach into Dublin. I hope you guys had the same impression. Beautiful lighting, and also, of course, the MKStudios Dublin is a beautiful scenery. All right. What else? Transponder goes to standby. I will get rid of the flight director's auto throttle. Weather goes off, VORs, and then terrain and VORs go off as well, and the lighting, so those go off. Turn offs, taxi are on, strobes go off. APU, I will wait another second. And I hope I haven't forgotten anything. A lapse time of 6 hours 15. Actually, I'm just not sure if the flight time gets recorded somewhere, but probably it is somewhere in the system. And now I need to set up the gate. So, oops, that was interesting. Bit of a reload there. We are at gate 313 today. Gate, what's that? $313. It says medium here, but I believe that's still the correct one. Yeah. Oh, there are weird options. Let's go Aer Lingus. Now I will taxi Whiskey 1, which is the next one to the left. Oh, flaps are not fully up. It's interesting. I really love all the taxiway lightings of the scenery, especially those here on the side. Looks rather amazing, and now also pretty nice clouds up there as well. Maybe the reload we just had was just the transition from sort of dusk to day, or something like that. Alright, now it's not far to go. Our gate is over there. And I should get the APU started. And yeah, we could also use the airport map. I forgot to put it on. Okay, and then we will have a right hand turn now. And I did configure the parking position before this flight, so it should work well. Okay, there's 313 center, that's ours. I think I'm going to trust the safe dock. The aircraft really wants to accelerate if I don't hit the brakes continuously. Stop. All right. Park brake. And then let's see, APU is running. That's good, so we can kill the engines. And beacons go off, taxi lights go off as well. APU is on. Fuel pumps go off. And we can set the wheel chocks, external power, and then we can ask for some deboarding. All right, hydraulics, the center ones, and then left and right. And I believe everything else can pretty much stay as it is for now. And now we open door 1 and the cargo doors. Sweet. And last thing to do in the cockpit is the shutdown checklist. So hydraulics are set, fuel pumps are off, flaps are up, parking brake is released. Few control switches are cut off and weather radars off. Checklist is completed. And here we are, guys. Welcome once again to Dublin. Now we can enjoy another early morning look on the 787-10, our first flight in this aircraft. I very much enjoyed it. Landing was a bit rough. That's due to every aircraft, of course, behave differently during the flare, and yeah, it's always a matter of what aircraft we are used to. Now recently I've been flying the 747 a lot, so I got kind of used to the queen of the skies. Never mind, I hope you have enjoyed the flight, and I hope to see you back soon, then hopefully in the A330, which is also released now for Prepare version 5. And take care, stay healthy, and see you then.